Hi everybody, my name's Alex and this is my new show I'm trying out, Underappreciated Australian Films. I'm here today with my friend Adrian and today we're going to be talking about the 2018 film Brother's Nest.
Once you step inside here, you're in. What kind of criminals get caught? The dumb ones. You're kidding me.
So Adrian, what's sort of like your experience with Australian films?
To be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Australian films. I haven't even seen the classics like The Castle.
Oh
Picnic
yeah,
and
The Castle.
Hanging Rock.
Yeah.
I could probably count the number of Australian films that I've actually seen with like one or two hands. The most recent one I think I saw before this was it Snowtown? That was a while ago.
I haven't seen that one.
I saw that in theaters. Yeah, but anyway, the point is I don't really know that there's many Australian films being distributed. I don't really hear about it much. Yeah. So
Yeah, my experience with it, I was introduced to a lot of the classics when I was younger, but it wasn't really till I started like studying film that I got like particularly interested in the idea of, seeking out newer films and stuff and things that weren't like the big, like, I don't know, what do we have, like 5 or so movies that are popular, like The Castle, Picnic at Hanging Rock,
Australia.
Mad Max, Crocodile Dundee, that's like what everyone knows, and The Babadook.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that was probably the most recent one I saw. Love The Babadook.
Yeah, so we decided to do this show because we wanted to talk a bit about sort of the things that get overlooked, because I think that although we've got as many bad movies as any other country like the US or whatever, I think a lot of people have this perception of Australian movies as being like cheapo Hollywood imitation kind of stuff, which I don't think is really accurate. I think we got plenty of fantastic movies that often get overlooked, and one of them is Brother's Nest, which we both liked, didn't we?
Yeah, I appreciate you introducing this to me, because I wouldn't have heard of it otherwise. I mean, I saw Kenny, which the actor, and I think you said director as well, right?
Yeah,
Kenny was totally different.
Shane Jacobson and Clayton Jacobson in this one,
Yeah.
and Shane Jacobson was Kenny.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have heard of it. But I really enjoyed it, to be honest. Like in terms of any kind of film, not necessarily Australian. So yeah.
So Brother's Nest is about these two sort of middle-aged brothers who are going back to their old family home, and they're planning on committing a rather dark crime there. And a lot of the film deals with like their contemplation on how the crime should be done, whether it should be done, and how it's going to affect them, and how it relates to their personal, and how it relates to like their personal lives and their family history and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like what it does, a big part of the film as well, is like that transition from the plan, like the method of what they wanted to do, and being really detached, because you are as an audience detached, and when you get more information, it becomes more real.
Yeah, the more you learn about it.
All the family drama sort of gets dug up, and it's more about, what seems objective is actually more subjective than it seems initially.
Yeah, so a bit of background on this one. It cost $2 million to make, which is a pretty normal budget. They struggled for a long time to find that budget, I know. But from what I've seen, it only made $200,000 in the box office.
Yeah.
Which is very disappointing returns. But I think it should have got a lot more recognition. I really loved the film. Like when I saw it, I just was going out to the cinemas and I didn't really know what it was. I just sort of was like, what's on today? And just picked it at random, didn't watch the trailer, which by the way, you should not watch the trailer because it's very spoilery, so don't watch that. And yeah, I was just like, it was like, at that time it was my favorite movie of the year. I liked The Favourite more later when I watched it, but it's still one of my top movies of last year. They did put this on the cover, it was like from some review, but I thought it was pretty accurate. It does have a lot of like Coen Brothers-esque like thriller and like a bit of like Hitchcockian vibe as well. What would you describe it as in terms of genre?
Yeah, it's hard to really pin down, isn't it? Because I felt like there are elements of... I went into it thinking it was going to be like this quirky, dark comedy kind of thing. And for the first maybe like 10, 15 minutes, I was like, you know, kind of rolling my eyes a little bit, thinking like it's just going to be this, you know, quirky setup. And then, but then it got really, really dark, but in a good way. But I guess, I don't know, how would you describe it? Elements of thriller.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like half thriller, half like black comedy and half family drama.
Yeah,
so
it's like
a third of those.
Family drama.
I feel like the comedy works well without overpowering the serious drama in the script, like without making it seem like a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they sprinkled it in. I thought there would be a lot more comedy, but I'm glad that there wasn't, because it would feel just kind of like, you know, shoehorned into the script, I think.
In that sense, it really does feel a lot like a Coen Brothers film, in the way that they combine the dark elements and the comedy and that sort of thing. Yeah, it felt a lot like it reminded me of Blood Simple. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No.
Yeah, that was their first movie. I really like the story in this one. Like the characters, I don't know. It feels like there's a lot to them, like a lot of depth and that sort of thing. And it is quite talky for the first half. So you definitely have a lot of time to explore them. And there's a lot of, I think, like reveals throughout the movie. Like you view things one way, and then the movie introduces something else and it twists how you were looking at it before.
Yeah, exactly. It slowly reveals it, and it's just filmed. I don't think this is a spoiler or anything, but it's just filmed in one location.
Yeah, so it's like a, what do you call it, like a bottle film or something?
Yeah, what is it? But you kind of realize, oh, okay, it's their family homes, and there's all this history to it. And I thought they revealed information in pretty interesting ways. It didn't feel forced. Like, it wasn't them just having conversations and being like, oh, remember when, you know, Dad did this, and
there is some of that, but like
a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's not too. It doesn't hit you over the head. So.
Yeah. So what did you think of the acting?
I don't know. Not so much towards the end of the film. Maybe I just kind of tuned it out. But I felt Jeff's character was a little bit stiff. Like, I felt he had this vibe of like, it kind of took me out of it a little bit. Like, it felt like he was waiting for his turn to speak his line. But you kind of think it was more like part of his character, right? More like
I don't know. Like, I didn't feel that way about it. Like, I think Shane Jacobson, he's a great actor, and I think he did a great job as usual. But like, Jeff, I thought they felt really natural as brothers. Like, they felt like they knew each other, if you know what I mean. And Jeff is obviously this character who's trying to like take a more pragmatic approach, whereas obviously Terry is like quite emotional about the situation, and you know, he's the one who's more hesitant. And Jeff, you definitely get the sense he's trying to like rationalize and like compartmentalize his mind about the whole thing. And I think that Clayton Jacobson did a great job with that. It felt like this guy who was very much like closing off one part of his brain and trying to focus on the task at hand in a very like, in a way where he's obviously like stressed about it, but he's like trying to keep it simple, and he's just like, we do this, and then we do this.
I felt like situationally, it felt like what you're describing, but in terms of the acting, I just felt like you didn't get this sense of the tension between, you know, how he's just trying to, because that's a big part of the film, like how he's just continuously rationalizing things. Like I said, by the end, I felt like it felt more natural for his character to act the way that he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe it was just my impression about where the movie was leading to in the first like 15 minutes, but...
So like the way that the movie sort of like changes your perceived direction, like changes how you perceive his performance?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we get into spoilers then and talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
So
yeah.
if you don't want this movie spoiled, then skip to the end, or
skip
don't
to
watch the rest of this.
We'll put a thing on the screen like here. So this is a spoiler section for if you're not too worried about having the movie spoiled. I'd recommend watching the movie first, but that's just me. It turns out that what the brothers are there to do is to murder their stepfather.
Yeah. That's the plan. And then you start to learn the reasons behind why, and it's mainly Jeff.
Because Jeff gives out all these reasons why they should kill the stepfather when Terry's he's doubting it, and it's we're killing him because he wants to take the house when mum dies because she's dying of cancer, or we want to kill him because of how he ignored us when we were kids and that sort of thing, or how he replaced dad and all that sort of thing. But eventually it's revealed that Jeff's motivation is a lot more.
It's more selfish.
Yeah,
right?
very, very selfish. Which is basically he wants to sell the house and get the money because he's out of a job, which of course he doesn't want to admit to Terry for a long time. But I feel like this is the central thing with his character, is that basically his pride that he didn't want to have to ask someone for help. Terry even says, I'd be happy to, lend you some money if you need it, if you're struggling. But I think that all comes down to how they perceive their dad and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and he's willing to go this far just for the sake of his pride, essentially.
Yeah. I
definitely, as the film progresses, what he's willing to do and how he's got this kind of anxiety around. He's just he's so obsessive at the beginning about planning everything, and then that just all goes out the window. That was probably my favorite scene.
Where he talks to Roger.
Yeah, where Terry has to go out and actually just talk with Roger, and that Terry's already a really bad liar. Yeah. But he's just trying to have an authentic conversation with him, whilst knowing Jeff is hiding.
Just around the corner.
Yeah, just around the corner with a gun, ready to just tie up Roger and murder him.
Yeah.
And then Terry really lets Roger really fills Terry in on how it really was and how he did feel a lot of pressures.
And the stuff about him ignoring them and spending so much time with his radios and all that, you think that he's just being a negligent stepfather or whatever, but really his perspective is he didn't want to replace their father, and his mum always told him, you're not their father.
I think he said Jeff said that in the film, if I'm not mistaken. He said Jeff made that very clear.
Yeah.
One of them.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it might have been, yeah.
He said, look, I tried to talk with Jeff, and he made it really clear that I'll never be his father, and he pushed him away and that.
I think this brings to what I feel is an important crux of it, which is the different perceptions they have of their father from growing up at different times, at different ages and that sort of thing. Jeff obviously was with him for longer because he's I think it's 4 or 5 years older or something.
Yeah, he's the older brother.
Yeah. So he's got a really strong attachment to him, and the way it presents him in the first half of the film is mostly from Jeff's perspective. It's a very glowing review, I guess, of his dad. But once they get to the barn, you see a bit of the way that Terry saw him, and you learn that he's physically abusive, and Terry obviously doesn't think of as highly of him as Jeff does. Doesn't have this obsession with him.
Yeah.
And so he's got a much better perception of Roger and that sort of thing. And you can see how Jeff's been twisting his arm.
He was really hurt by when his father committed suicide, when Roger came into the picture and stuff like that. So at some point you'd assume that he was very much almost like Terry maybe, which he sees as weak.
You can see the way he compartmentalizes everything. He tries to make everything a list. Tries to view it from a very much it's just a business, it's just a job. It's not a personal experience and that sort of thing. which you realize is very much just him trying to look out for himself.
Yeah, like what they wanted to do with the family home after they committed this like horrible crime, and then he was trying to put it back on, you know, Terry being the bad one, wanting to bring their kids over when they've, you know, because like,
he feels like the reason they're doing it is for the family home, because they feel like Roger's trying to steal it, like in the will, like he's trying to manipulate their mum into giving him the house and stuff.
Yeah, then he'll like head off to Queensland, they say, right?
Yeah, and so Terry's like, oh, then, you know, we can have it as our family home again, and bring our kids up here, and it'll be like all those fond family memories. And just like, no, we got to sell it.
Do you want to get into what happens later in the film, like as it progresses and it gets, you know, darker, when they actually, because there's that point where it's like it still feels sort of light-hearted, and there's more comedy to it, where they're preparing, they've got all these lists, and it seems kind of ridiculous when they're like dressed in these orange suits and stuff, and then they actually tie up Roger, and then he throws in like a radio into the bathtub, and you see Terry
Terry changes his mind, obviously, so Terry wants to save him, but it's too late. That's like the big turning point where you see, is he going to, you know, succumb to like empathy and reason, or is he just going to go completely off the deep end? And he goes off the deep end. Yeah,
because first they kill Roger, and then it's like, oh shit, their mom.
Yeah, which is leads to that big twist, which I really loved. You know, like that's such a simple thing to do, where it's just
her, like the way her
she just like flips up in the car seat.
That was great, because then it became more comedy for a little while again.
Yeah. I think they weave the comedy into the darkness really well.
Yeah, like how she's like got a walking frame, and she's like walking towards the door, and
she's a badass.
Yeah, and just the way they're like scrambling through the house, and then, you know, he tries to close the door so she doesn't see Roger straight away.
Yeah.
But then it's like, and then something, you know, clicks for Jeff, I guess, and he's like, oh, we've got to kill her now.
My perception is that like the fight with his brother at the end did go on for a bit longer than I think.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is quite a few steps.
I think maybe it's kind of like they were thinking, well, this is Terry's moment, you know, so they played it out a little bit, because it's like, and it's not just Terry's moment, it's like you see Jeff reap the, you know, you see him
reap the rewards
as he really
of his
is.
actions.
Yeah, you see him like really like he doesn't want to go to prison, he just traps himself in the car. You see how pathetic he really is.
Yeah, he's like reduced to like this pathetic angry animal sort of thing. And it's kind of ironic in a sense, because like at that point just Terry snaps, and he's like taken on like the attitude that like Jeff had at the beginning, where he's just like very like detach himself from the emotion of it all, because it's all he can do.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then he kind of, when the person comes to buy the horse, he's just like in shock. He's just like tried to do a bad or a terrible, horrible thing, but you can see like he's still got that like empathy for like. He just sees that in everyone. He probably saw that in Jeff. That's
probably why he went along with it in the first place, because he was like
just wasn't
empathize with Jeff.
Just thinking, oh, this is my brother, he wants me to help him.
But it's like this toxic pride that's like at the center of it. Like his father obviously like imbued that in him as like a young kid. Yeah. It's just something that has become like such a central part of his persona. You see throughout as like in the barn scene and stuff, he reveals that he was like abusive and stuff, and his mother shows when Jeff's pointing the gun at her, she's like, you're just like him. Your father was like a piece of shit who liked to talk himself up and act like he was the best thing in the world. Yeah. But he was like a horrible person.
We can't have bruises, no scuffs, no scratches.
What's going on here?
All right, so just to let you all know, we had some issues with with some of our side cameras in terms of recording the spoilers. So whatever you got is what you got. This is an experimental first episode.
Yeah, and I have to run. I'm like 15 minutes late already.
Yep.
But
So yeah, we're just going to wrap things up now. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and share it if you enjoyed what we're doing. And well, we might do more of these in the future. So yeah.
Okay, great.
See you later.